Unless students have a way to do that building, that constructing in their own mind, learning doesn't happen. It may happen for the moment, it may show up on the test next week, but a month from now it won't be part of their knowledge unless they've actually done something with it. The second tenet is a connection to prior knowledge. Construction of new understanding involves relating new sensory input to prior understanding. The brain seeks links or scaffolds on which to connect things. Meaning is given to the new experience which depends on the prior understandings. In the generative theory of constructivism, the old understandings get modified as well as the interpretations of the new experiences. It's a spiraling process. For example, the basics of photosynthesis are learned maybe in 3rd grade at a very minimal level. But in 7th grade, 10th grade, and again in college, the subject is examined in a deeper way, and the person continues to build deeper and deeper understanding of that subject based on the beginning knowledge that they received maybe in 3rd grade. So it's that being able to build on what you already know. So introducing a subject to a student who has no prior knowledge of that subject and has no place to put it, the information won't stay with them and it won't become deeper understanding. So we have to figure out how to hook it to something they already know. And the last thing is persistence to prior understanding. Everyone has been constructing understanding or knowledge since they were infants. Naive, intuitive theories, personal conceptions and misconceptions are strongly held and are often very resistant to change. We talk about people having a private universe. For example, many college-educated people believe that seasons are caused by the Earth's proximity to the sun, rather than by the Earth's revolution around the sun and the tilt of the Earth in its orbit. And I think this happens because in early textbooks, they drew a picture of the sun and they drew a picture of the Earth, and it looked like it was in an elliptical pattern where the Earth actually did get close 2 times a year and far away, instead of trying to make it a circle like it is. So students look at that picture and they think, oh, twice a year the Earth is close to the sun, twice a year we have warmer weather than the other 2 times. That must be what it is. And so they wind up believing that. And there's a famous video that was made, I think, at Harvard, where they interviewed graduates on graduation day, and they asked them what caused the seasons, and to a person, they all had some kind of convoluted private universe answer about how this happened. And the video goes on to show a classroom where a really bright student has that belief and she clings to it, even though the teacher shows her with a little model that the Earth, in fact, is the same distance from the sun all the time and that it's the tilt. And she asks the student then to explain it again, thinking, well, now I've corrected her private universe, and she draws the same elliptical pattern. So it takes a long time to uncover what those private universes are, and then to give enough information, enough exercises for students to build a more correct vision of the world. Again, that complicates the teacher's role, because it's not only to teach, but to uncover misconceptions and then to help the student grow into a different understanding. Let's talk about the instructional sequence of constructivism. Starts with a focus. Activities designed to expose student understanding about the idea or concept and enable students to make connections to prior experiences with the idea or concept. This requires an accessing of prior knowledge, including uncovering those private universes. So at the beginning of the lesson, there must be time to get the students focused on the lesson, to figure out what they already know about it, acknowledge that, figure out what they know about it that's incorrect that you need to try to help correct. And that's often a part of the lesson that we don't pay any attention to because we're in a hurry to get things covered, so we skip that. Well, if you skip it, then the student is floating around in his own private universe. He's not paying any attention to you because you've not allowed him to hook into what he already knows about it. The second part of the sequence is challenge. These are activities designed to cause students to construct their own understanding. It's raising the desire to learn about something. Skills are taught then in the context of what the student needs as he begins to make this learning happen. And lastly is application. Activities are opportunities to test the new understanding by application to other situations common in the student's environment, to transfer that knowledge, that understanding. Again, skills are taught in the context of what the student needs to know in order to make that application or make the transfer. This educational theory and current research on the brain makes it difficult to accept strict content standards at specific grade levels and calls into question the value of standardized tests that measure the same things from all students at a specified time. We must have standardization of a curriculum because we have to honor the goals of equity and access. So standardization of a curriculum so that all students have access, but specific standards, this must be taught at this grade level to all these kids. That often limits the teacher's ability to respond to the students immediately in front of him or her, and often leads to a focus on coverage rather than teaching for understanding. And this is where I think American education has really taken the wrong turn. It's very hard to pull that back because of the numbers of people, and I'm worried that Georgia will make the same mistake. They'll get locked into a standardized testing system that doesn't honor the fact that students are very different and that there are other ways of learning besides the rote teaching that we do when we try to cover everything. Both of these bodies of work, brain research and constructivism, while widely accepted intellectually in the United States, pose very real dilemmas for teachers in today's politically charged education wars, with the emphasis on test scores. Think back now to your own education, at whatever level you want to think about. What elements of constructivism can you identify in your education? Take about 2 minutes to share either the great examples or bemoan the fact that there weren't any. But talk to your neighbors for a couple of minutes, please. And here's the question again.